I've been podcasting about health since 2012, and every few years there's somebody who just explodes out of nowhere in the health space, and usually it's due to a celebrity endorsement or some other massive social media gathering around this person, and this guy is Gary Brecka. They have a company that's associated with Grant Cardone, an investment group, and this 10x Health. I love the idea of it. I've seen a lot of discussion about this, and I've been asked by some of my clients, what do you think about these 10x tests? And the truth is they're lacking. I think there's so much good intention behind this, and I think it's amazing to empower people and try to encourage the global population to think about themselves from a functional perspective, meaning we're getting laboratory data on ourselves, and then we're using specific supplements and nutrients to help regulate our bodies. And two of the things that they talk about are going to be blood and genetic testing. So there's a 10x blood test and there's a 10x gene test. And I've looked at some of the biomarkers as much as I could tell from the screenshots. It does appear that there is some data about hormones. It does appear there is some lipid information, nutrient information, and those are kind of the big findings. And then the genetic testing, this was looking more into methylation.
For the balance of your lifetime, you will never guess on what your body is deficient in, right? Because you will know what it can methylate and what it can't.
And I'm sure there's some other genes and SNPs that they're testing, and methylation is great. It's an important process. It's one of the many ways we convert toxins out of our body. Methylation works along with sulfation and glucuronidation and other pathways to help with mold toxicity, for example. So supporting methylation is something I almost always do clinically because there are so many people that have genetic predispositions to poor methylation. Now, if you just stop here at blood and genes, and this is your whole 10x health protocol, you're really lacking some of the real functional medicine labs and the functional medicine data you need to really transform your health, especially if we're talking about someone with a chronic health condition. So what would that actually look like? Well, we need to really add organic acids testing, because think about all the people. Depression is the #1 leading cause of disability in the United States, last time I checked with the CDC. With depression, we're not really going to see much information on genetics or blood to help us with depression. So when we look at the suicide rate, we look at the depression rate, the anxiety rate in this country and worldwide, this is a huge problem, and these tests here are just not going to help you with that. And I know that just because Dana White is associated with the UFC, who's then now affiliated with Gary, a lot of the guys, the demographics are guys my age in their 30s and 40s, and these guys have massive mental health issues. I see it every day clinically. And so we need to really add organic acids testing to this to really help people, because we're going to be adding neurotransmitters, yeast, so that's candida, which can cause brain fog and anxiety. We're going to be looking at fungal infections. We're going to look at mitochondrial issues. So in people that have chronic fatigue, we're going to get a lot of data about that on the organic acids testing. We're going to look at glutathione status. We're going to also look at nutrient levels. And I personally like looking at the nutrients on the organic acids testing. If we have both blood and urine data on nutrient levels, we can really help people, and the vast majority of people are nutrient deficient. The next thing that we're not going to get with the 10x Health protocol currently is we're not going to get a toxin profile. Now, maybe in the blood I didn't see it, and maybe there's a special heavy metal blood test, for example, but blood testing is not the best for heavy metals anyway. Urine is. You can also do stool. There's some stool testing for toxins, but I really find urine to be the best. So we're going to look specifically at mycotoxins. We're going to look at chemicals. So this could include pesticides, for example, glyphosate. Fortunately, I see Joe Rogan is now educating. He just reposted something on his Twitter X page about glyphosate and how even parts per billion is very detrimental to human health.
Glyphosate is Roundup. That stuff that they spray, super bad for you. If they use it on these plants, where does it go? Do they wash it off? What kind of residual effect does that stuff have on the food you eat?
We know that this damages good gut bacteria, allowing bad bacteria to thrive, and this can lead to nutrient deficiencies, histamine intolerance, autoimmune diseases, and many, many other issues. So glyphosate and these pesticide compounds, we can measure these toxins in the urine. Most people, myself included, unfortunately, even with an organic diet, we still have glyphosate in our bodies. There are specific protocols we can create to get this stuff out, but this is affecting our microbiome, which is then affecting our brain, our blood-brain barrier, and more. Not to mention they're carcinogenic. So chemicals, we have mycotoxins, we have heavy metals as well. Most people have heavy metal toxicity. For example, I have a brand new construction house and we have nice fixtures. However, I took a lead swab test, another video on that to come soon. The faucet, where in the middle of the night, if I wake up a little thirsty, get a drink out of the sink, and sure enough, the swab test tested positive for lead. And unfortunately, it appears that it's very difficult to find 100% lead-free faucets. So every time you're brushing your teeth or you're drinking a sip of water from the sink, you could be getting lead. Even in someone like me who has a whole house water filter, everything is purified, but then that last little section there, that last 6 inches before it comes into your cup, boom, you're getting lead from the lead that's added to the brass inside of these faucets. So long story short, most people have lead, mercury, and other heavy metals, which once again affects neurotransmitters. So this is really important data you need to see on yourself. And then lastly, gut health. I don't see any mention about microbiome testing. Maybe I overlooked that, but we have to add this in. I prefer the GI map. I'm open to other companies, but I've seen really good success with this. Me personally, fixing my own parasite infections. I used to have H. pylori as well. I had bacterial overgrowth. All these issues can be identified with an at-home stool test. So just to make it clear, this is at home. This organic acid is at home. So we don't even have to go anywhere to get blood. And in most cases, I don't run blood that often because most people have already had blood by their conventional doctor. Sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes it's missing some key biomarkers that we need to add. But in a lot of cases, blood doesn't show much until you're really freaking sick. These functional medicine labs show disease far before it actually occurs. So far before you get rheumatoid arthritis or Hashimoto's or some other autoimmune disease, we're going to find the infections in the gut that drive those autoimmune diseases. So if we're working here, really some of this stuff becomes less relevant. So this is Evan Brand. I'm board certified in holistic nutrition, also a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. I've seen over 3,000 clients around the world. I've had 26+ million downloads of my Evan Brand Show podcast. I have an online functional medicine training school where I've had over 1,000 students, including health seekers, yoga teachers, stay-at-home moms, even medical doctors that want to learn functional medicine. Some of these labs pay me to help teach about these labs. I'm not being paid for this, but this is just something that I love, and I know that it'll help transform your life. So Gary, I hope he can get the message, and maybe Grant, we can get the message to him as well, that we need to really upgrade this 10X Health lab testing protocol because we want to get further and deeper with people. We want to heal chronic disease. We want to heal depression, anxiety, prevent suicide, and so much more. This is Evan Brand signing out.